Ming Aralia versus False Aralia. I find Ming Aralia captivating with its delicate, fern-like leaves that add a touch of elegance to any room. False Aralia, on the other hand, has a wilder look with its feathery foliage that gives a more untamed, jungle vibe. Both are stunning, but Ming Aralia's refined appearance matches my preference for a more structured aesthetic in indoor plants. See more 180 species in genus Polyscias at monsteraholic.com. How often to water Ming Aralia? Watering my Ming Aralia is a bit of a dance. I've found that it prefers to dry out slightly between waterings, so I usually check the soil moisture every few days and water it when the top inch of soil feels dry. Overwatering can lead to root rot, so I try to strike a balance to keep my plant happy. How to bonsai Ming Aralia? Bonsai-ing my Ming Aralia has been a fascinating journey. I start by selecting a young, healthy plant with a sturdy trunk. Then, with careful pruning and wiring, I shape it into the desired bonsai form. It's a patient process, but seeing the transformation over time is incredibly rewarding. How to care for Ming Aralia? Caring for my Ming Aralia involves a few key elements: bright, indirect light, consistent watering, but not too much, and occasional misting to maintain humidity. I also make sure to keep an eye out for any pests or diseases, and promptly address any issues that arise to keep my plant thriving. How to propagate Ming Aralia? Propagating my Ming Aralia has been surprisingly easy. I've had success using both stem cuttings and air layering methods. For stem cuttings, I simply take a cutting with a few leaves attached, dip it in rooting hormone, and place it in a moist potting mix. Within a few weeks, roots start to develop, and I have a new plant. How to prune Ming Aralia? Pruning my Ming Aralia is all about shaping and maintaining its form. I usually prune in the spring or early summer to encourage new growth and remove any dead or damaged branches. I aim for a balanced, airy appearance, making sure not to prune too aggressively to avoid stressing the plant. How to revive Ming Aralia? Reviving my Ming Aralia can be a challenge, but it's not impossible. If I notice it looking droopy or sad, I first check the soil moisture and adjust my watering habits if necessary. I also trim away any dead or yellowing leaves, and give it a gentle wipe down to remove dust and improve airflow. Is Ming Aralia toxic to cats? As far as I know, Ming Aralia isn't toxic to cats, but it's always a good idea to double-check with a reliable source or consult with a veterinarian if you're unsure. I don't have cats myself, but I make sure to keep all my plants out of reach of pets just to be safe. Where to buy Ming Aralia? I've found Ming Aralia available at a variety of places, including local nurseries, garden centers, and online plant shops. I usually prefer to buy from local businesses when possible, but online options can offer a wider selection if I'm looking for something specific. Why is my Ming Aralia losing leaves? When my Ming Aralia starts losing leaves, it's usually a sign that something isn't quite right. It could be due to overwatering, underwatering, inadequate light, or even pests. I carefully inspect my plant and try to identify the underlying issue so I can address it and help my plant recover. Why is my Ming Aralia turning yellow? Yellowing leaves on my Ming Aralia often indicate stress or a lack of proper care. It could be caused by overwatering, nutrient deficiencies, pests, or even environmental factors like drafts or temperature fluctuations. I make sure to assess all aspects of care and adjust accordingly to help my plant bounce back. Does Ming Aralia flower? Ming Aralia can produce small, inconspicuous flowers under the right conditions, although it's not particularly known for its blooms. The flowers are usually white or cream-colored and may appear in clusters. While they're not the main attraction of this plant, they can be a nice surprise if you happen to catch them. How do I know if my Ming Aralia is dying? When my Ming Aralia starts showing signs of decline, like wilting, yellowing leaves, or drooping stems, I know it's time to take action. I carefully inspect the plant for any signs of pests, disease, or environmental stressors, and then make adjustments to its care regimen as needed. Sometimes a change in watering, lighting, or humidity levels can make all the difference in saving my plant. How to repot a Ming Aralia? Repotting my Ming Aralia is something I do every couple of years to refresh its soil and give it some extra space to grow. I choose a pot that's slightly larger than its current one, fill it with well-draining soil, and carefully transplant the plant, making sure not to disturb its roots too much. After repotting, I give it a good drink and place it in a spot with bright, indirect light to help it settle in. Is Ming Aralia edible? While I'd never heard of Ming Aralia being edible, I wouldn't recommend trying it without proper research and confirmation from a reliable source. It's always best to stick to plants that are known to be safe for consumption, especially when it comes to pets or children. Is Ming Aralia toxic to dogs? As far as I know, Ming Aralia isn't toxic to dogs, but it's always a good idea to double-check with a reliable source or consult with a veterinarian if you're unsure. I don't have dogs myself, but I make sure to keep all my plants out of reach of pets just to be safe. Why is my Ming Aralia wilting? When my Ming Aralia starts wilting, it's usually a sign that something's not quite right with its care. It could be due to underwatering, overwatering, inadequate light, or even temperature stress. I carefully assess the plant's environment and adjust its care regimen as needed to help it perk back up.